After Jorge Martin's crash, his teammate has now suffered the same fate. Aprilia must be feeling the frustration, especially after being compared to Ducati, who took the top spot. Let's break it all down and hear Aprilia's response. Stick around until the end. Marco Bezzecchi admitted that his crash at the end of second practice for the Thailand MotoGP was an avoidable one, attributing it to a lack of familiarity with the Aprilia. The three-time Grand Prix winner has been one of the standout riders during pre-season testing with the factory Aprilia team and carried that strong form into Friday's sessions in Buriram. Finishing fourth overall, Bezzecchi nonetheless suffered a minor fall at turn 3 towards the conclusion of the second session. Reflecting on the incident, he noted that his limited experience of the RSGP in a qualifying setup left him unprepared for an unexpected movement under braking. His reaction, he acknowledged, was not the correct one, which ultimately led to the crash. Despite this, he remained positive about the day's performance, viewing the mistake as a small but valuable learning experience. Bezzecchi also remarked that track conditions differed from those encountered during pre-season testing, which had seen a significant build-up of rubber. As a result, both the team and the rider had to make adjustments to adapt to the altered grip levels. Nevertheless, he remained confident in his overall pace and hoped to improve further in the upcoming sessions. The characteristics of the Aprilia have generally complemented Bezzecchi's riding style, particularly its strong front-end stability. However, he pointed out that since his first experience with the bike in Barcelona last November, significant improvements had been made to enhance rear stability. While the RSGP originally provided excellent front-end grip, early concerns over rear-end looseness have since been addressed with notable gains in traction. The primary area still requiring refinement, he observed, was braking, where efforts were ongoing to create a smoother balance across different braking scenarios. Alongside his impressive one-lap pace, Bezzecchi's performance on worn tyres was also encouraging after Friday's sessions. However, he remained cautious about predicting how he would fare against some of his key rivals in the coming days. While recognizing Marc Marquez as the current benchmark, he was also mindful of the strong form shown by Alex Marquez during winter testing. Ultimately, his primary focus was on making steady improvements and seeing where that would place him in the competitive order. Massimo Rivola, CEO of Aprilia Racing, views this crash as a natural part of Bezzecchi's learning curve. While minor, the incident highlights that the RSGP, renowned for its strong front end, still has characteristics that require further understanding, especially in extreme situations like qualifying. Rivola, who has successfully elevated Aprilia to a competitive level in recent years, will no doubt recognize that this wasn't simply a rider error, but rather a signal that the technical team needs to analyze the data to help Bezzecchi anticipate the bike's unpredictable behavior. The focus on braking as the primary cause of the crash is also a key takeaway for Aprilia Racing. Bezzecchi explicitly stated that he didn't know what to do when the bike behaved erratically under braking, an admission that likely had Rivola and his engineers immediately looking for ways to refine the bike's setup. Aprilia's front end is well known for its strength, but if stability under braking remains an issue, as hinted at by Bezzecchi's desire for a smoother bike, this is an area that needs urgent attention. From a technical standpoint, I see this as a challenge that must be addressed swiftly to ensure Bezzecchi can push his limits without the risk of a repeat incident. The context of this crash also underscores Bezzecchi's aggressive approach in chasing the bike's limits, something Rivola will undoubtedly appreciate. This was his first real attempt at extracting more from the RSGP, and while it ended in a fall, this drive to push the boundaries is exactly what's needed to compete at the highest level of MotoGP. However, Rivola may encourage a more measured approach in the short term, ensuring that Bezzecchi's confidence isn't shaken by the incident. Aprilia will want to avoid preventable crashes, keeping the focus firmly on performance development rather than recovering from avoidable mistakes. While the crash may have grabbed the headlines, there are positives from Bezzecchi's performance in Buriram that shouldn't be overlooked. Finishing fourth overall on Friday, coupled with promising pace on used tyres, suggests that Aprilia and Bezzecchi are building a strong foundation to compete. Massimo Rivola will no doubt be pleased to see his rider's confidence intact, with Bezzecchi even optimistic about improving on Saturday. As an observer, I believe that if the team can iron out the braking issues and support Bezzecchi's adaptation, Aprilia Racing could well be in the spotlight this weekend, turning this minor crash into nothing more than a footnote in a much bigger success story. Marco Bezzecchi's crash during FP2 at the Thai MotoGP highlights the key differences between the Aprilia RSGP and the Ducati Desmosedici, particularly in braking and rider adaptation. Having spent 3 years on a VR46 Ducati, Bezzecchi admitted the incident was avoidable, citing a lack of familiarity with the Aprilia, especially under braking. This reflects the fundamental contrast between the two bikes, both competitive but requiring different riding approaches. The RSGP is known for its strong front end, which should suit Bezzecchi's aggressive style, but he noted that it demands a smoother touch on the brakes, unlike Ducati's GP24, which excels in braking stability and rear grip. Ducati's refined electronics and aerodynamics allow for seamless corner entry, whereas Aprilia still appears less forgiving. Aprilia Racing CEO Massimo Rivola will likely see this as proof that the RSGP still needs development to match Ducati, the benchmark in MotoGP. Bezzecchi described the bike as more physically demanding than the Ducati, which benefits from extensive data across multiple bikes on the grid. This crash underlines the need to refine Aprilia's braking characteristics to improve rider confidence and consistency. Technically, Aprilia has improved rear-end stability and traction since Montmello, but Bezzecchi's crash suggests the bike remains more unpredictable than the Ducati. While Ducati's advanced aerodynamics and electronics allow riders like Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez to maximize performance smoothly, Aprilia is still refining its package. Rivola will likely push for better electronic and braking setups to accelerate Bezzecchi's adaptation. Despite the setback, Aprilia has reasons for optimism. Bezzecchi's strong pace on used tyres and fourth-place finish on Friday show the RSGP's potential. With 2024 world champion Jorge Martín joining in 2025, Aprilia is closing the gap. If they learn from incidents like this, they could seriously challenge Ducati's dominance next season. Bezzecchi's crash at the Thai GP has certainly sparked an interesting debate about the comparison between Aprilia and Ducati, but what do you think, MotoGP fans? Do you agree that Aprilia still needs time to match Ducati's seamless performance, or do you see the RSGP as having unique strengths that could shake up the Desmosedici's dominance in the future? Hey MotoGP fans, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with all the latest action.